Have you spent more time self-reflecting this year than usual? Yes, 75% of people. 10% have said no, they've spent less. We've had a lot of time on our own this year, and that means we've probably had a chance to think about ourselves and our careers and so forth. Remember, these are young managers in our industry, and they're saying, yes, we've spent some time self-reflecting. We dug a little bit deeper into that. Have you had more self-doubts this year than usual? And again, these are young people, remember. Over 50% of people said they've had more self-doubts, perhaps about themselves, perhaps about their career. The first thing I'll ask you to think about is there are three different categories of people I want you to think about now. I want you to think about yourself. Maybe you've had more self-doubts than usual this year. That puts you in the majority, folks. I want you to think about your team, because the people who answered this survey could well be part of your team. And also your members. There's going to be some members who are now questioning what life's all about. And it might be they decide that actually the club is a much bigger part of their life than they previously thought. In this crazy year, how would they best describe how they were feeling? Well, over on the left there, absolutely fine, Kev, never better, only 5% there. In the main, they're fine. This period has got them reflecting on the fact that actually, no, I'm okay. But look over on the right-hand side there, there's a number of people who just admit that they're not in a great place this year. So the second point I'd ask you to think about is, if that's you, pick up the phone. You've got a tribe around you. Everyone on this European conference would help you. But it could be one of your teams. So make sure that you're diving in and speaking to your team regularly in case they're one of those people. And what about your members? I think quite often we underestimate the role we have in people's lives as being the managers of the clubs where they choose to spend their discretionary time. So we have a role to provide some pastoral care for those people as well. Have members, the people we're actually meant to be helping, have they behaved themselves this year? Well, that big red slice tells you that about a third of them have been quite naughty this year. They've made our lives as managers more difficult. In the main, the members have responded brilliantly this year, but quite often members are coming down with their finger out and pointing at you and telling you, because it's the only place they get to let off some steam. It's the only place they feel they've got a little bit of control. So try and bear that in mind and try and be sympathetic to that, but don't let them overstep the mark. Otherwise, we'll lose some very good people from the club industry. So where does that leave people in general about the industry? Are they happy that they've made the right choice in the industry? Remember, these are the 30 young managers in the young managers group, and that big line along the bottom says, this year has proved that this is definitely the industry for me. If this is what our role is, which is being that third place in people's lives, this is the industry for me. Very few people have said it's not. Now, we got some other information from them that was more personal, which I'm not going to share, but I just think as a starter for 10, that gives you some thoughts. And remember, when you're thinking about these stats, think about it from your own point of view, from your team's point of view, and also you do that. Staff masks are here for a while, which is robbing us of the human contact that we used to take for granted. And the old warm embrace is probably 15 months away. That means to replace that traditional warm embrace, we're going to need to be more creative, and you and your bosses need to know we're not always going to get it right. Okay? Now, you could go through that exact same process with your board, and guess what? You're going to arrive at the same conclusions. But it's better that they arrive at them than you force it down their neck. But if you want to, you've now got evidence from European Conference to tell you that's where our industry thinks we're headed. If we're going to give people what they want, we need to remind ourselves of how we arrive at that. We all know this equation. This was gifted to us by, funnily enough, Greg Patterson, probably 10 or 15 years ago. Value is experience minus cost. What did I get for what did I give? In a member's case, how much does it cost? And does the experience outweigh the cost? That is value, and people will stay where they are valued. Let's define the E again, okay? So that we're clear about what the experience is that people have told us up until now that they are seeking. Remember, Scottish Golf created a survey of 25,000 golf club members. That's now been extended across the UK. The results are identical. I'm sorry, I don't have the results for Europe or anywhere else, but I do have them for the UK. And people were asked to rank in importance how 10 different things were to them in the golf club experience. No surprise at all that the most important thing to them was the golf course. They actually genuinely believe that. We are the smart people who know it goes much, much deeper than that, but they have said it's the golf course, and there literally has never been more demand for your golf courses than there is now. And for the record, I for one think that that's going to stay at that high level of demand, because it is one of the safe spaces to do some physical activity. And it is one of the few places where you are allowed to socialize regularly with your closest friends. Your closest friends who are also members of your club. It will bond them to your club. The second most important thing, according to this survey, was professional management. Has the management stepped up right now? Yes, they have. The second most important thing to members was the professional running of the club. The more you can show them, we've got this, the more they will love their club. And the third thing, also in blue, just behind the professional management, customer service. Make me feel special. Can you measure how well you're doing? Yes, you can, and I'll give you two simple tests to do that. The first one, E&E, were you served as a customer at your club effectively and efficiently? Were you served in an engaging place by engaging people? And were you able to enlarge or enrich a member's experience? Now, when I go to Newcastle United's ground, I go and get a hot dog outside the ground. It's in a smelly old van. Is it effective? Do they give me what I want? Yes. Is it done within the time scale? Yep, it's within seconds. Is it an engaging place? Not really. Is it an engaging people? Big Brenda with the tattoos is probably not who I choose to be serving my hot dog. But when I go to the golf club at North Berwick, fabulous place, and now fabulous people. Not always been that way, but fabulous people. And the crucial ingredient there, have we enlarged or enriched the member's experience? What would make a difference? What could you do? And these things are often the free parts of what you do. Here's another test for you. Every single interaction with a customer boils down to these three things: WW, MMFF. A warm welcome, a memorable moment, a fond farewell. And they will differ from club to club. I will get a different experience at Berkhamsted than I might at Kuala Lumpur with Steve's club. But you have to define what they are. But have those things suddenly become more difficult because we can't physically embrace or touch? They probably have. So what we've got to do is we've got to start asking ourselves a few questions. If we're being robbed of some of the things we can do, let's establish what is still permitted. The cracked tile slide, and it basically reminds you that as you progress in your career up the left-hand side of the slide, the tile, I should say, you are probably going to spend more time around people, and that has never been more important than right now. I know from the surveys we've done this summer, managers in the UK are spending 20 to 30% more time looking after customers this year than they did in the previous year. And they've actually admitted that it's been quite an enjoyable side of the business, and they know they're going to have to do more of it. Whether you are showing your staff the way to do it, whether you are greeting members or whether you are motivating your senior staff, please go and spend more time with the people in your organization, be that staff or members. Here's another slide which I got from my time in America with Jason when we were very first putting together the MDP course. This shows the importance of conceptual skills in a manager. And this has got even more important in recent years. You might not be able to see, but this is a slide that was put together in 1981. And this has become far, far more important now than we even could have imagined back then. These are management levels on the left-hand side, and they show you a breakdown very roughly of the technical knowledge, the human contact you will need to have, and the conceptual skills you need to bring to the table. And the argument was the further up the tree you go, the more you're going to have to exercise those conceptual muscles in the brain. Believe me, folks, there's never been a time like this. And when I asked you in the poll, you agreed with me. Now let's have a look at what the young managers said when I said, when you're creative at work, is it welcomed? Well, stifled at birth and rejected is the little red portion of the pie. The yellow one is my ideas are met with a lukewarm response. I'm pleased to say, folks, that 2/3 of that pie chart means, yes, when I come up with an idea, it's welcome. But please be aware, these same managers who said, I love this industry and I'm going nowhere, 1/3 of them said, I don't get my ideas met with much enthusiasm. Great time to press the reset button, folks. Now is the time. We've looked at whether our role has changed, and you've got the evidence from 8 polls to go back and say, this is what our industry thinks is going to happen next. And then we've looked at what your role is in doing something about it. These were the things that came out of America. I put them in highlight because I know I don't have time to go through them all. This is where their thinking is happening right now. Community, more important than anything else. Member-staff relations, back to Gary's point, Greg's point, you all nailed it. A safe haven, get it out in the open. Let's meet the cleaners. And a spirit of experimentation. We've covered all of those today, folks, including how you could do this with your staff. So let's be honest, you have a crucial role in people's lives, and you can enjoy a golden period in your career because people have never needed you at their club more than they do right now, whether it's the staff, your team, your board, and particularly your members. You have it in your hands to create member loyalty and staff happiness every day. It's been a tough year. Get the staff together nice and early next year, energize them with creativity, and make the magic happen.